Over the past 2 weeks, I have surveyed 48 leaders around where they're strong and where they're struggling. And I am starting a YouTube series where I'm going to share with you the data I'm collecting in real time. I'm going to show you the exact numbers, and I'm going to share with you the key insights with one key insight per video, along with a framework of how to solve that as a leader. So if you want to follow along, if you are a manager, a coach, or a business owner in a leadership capacity, you're not going to want to miss it. So if you want to follow along, make sure you've dropped this page a subscribe so that you don't miss anything. I am collecting this data from my scorecard. It's called the Complete Leaders Audit, and this is basically made around my coaching framework of how to be an effective leader. And I'll explain more in a minute, but it scores people on the 3 key areas of public leadership, which is leading other people, of personal leadership, which is leadership of self, and health and fitness, mentally and physically. Basically, it's 24 questions and it gives people a detailed report showing their personalized scores around where they're strong, where they're struggling, and what they need to do to improve. And guys, I want to show you that I'm not just chatting out of my arse. These are all of the scores. I'm just trying to hide people's data, but these are all the dates. These are all the scores. I am not making it up. There are a lot of people who are filling out this scorecard and finding it valuable. This is collected from real people in real time. And I'm going to share with you the insight. So today's insight is that most leaders scored themselves highest on public leadership first, which is leading of other people. Second was personal leadership, and dead last by an overwhelming majority was health and fitness. So check it out. Public leadership was the highest. That was at 65%. We have personal leadership in second, which was 54%. And then lastly was health and fitness at 42%. And honestly, guys, there is so much data that I could share. That's why I'm making a series on it, because I want each episode to be really useful, really actionable on the specific thing that I'm solving and talking you through, because there's so much data. If I tried to do it all in one video, it would bamboozle you. Anyway, so that is the key theme, is that most leaders, whether or not you're a business owner, a manager, or coach, feel more comfortable leading other people than they do leading themselves and looking after themselves. And that is such a big pattern. And you know, even before just these 48 people that I've surveyed over the past 2 weeks, I've been running a coaching program, Lead from the Front, for the past 4 years. And I would agree, like the majority of the work that I've done with people, especially at the very beginning, has been around health and fitness and personal leadership. And I want to share with you how you can solve that and why it's a problem in the first place. Also, guys, apologies on this section. I realized I've filmed on the wrong angle, so it now will flip to portrait. You live and you learn, but I'm not going to redo it. I'll just remember that for the next video. So the first thing I want to do is just talk about why is this actually a problem. So let's have a look at this on the model so that you can, understand better. Let's say in this scenario, these are the 3, and just a recap, these are the 3 areas that you need to have and master if you want to be a really effective leader. We have public leadership, which is around leading other people so that instead of being a poor leader, you're confident and inspiring to others. The other one is personal leadership. Okay, instead of being unorganized and chaotic, you are organized and proactive. So this is all around how you lead yourself. We also have health and fitness. Instead of being unfit and healthy, you're fit, healthy, and energized. So let's take this example that the data has been showing. Most people have rated themselves higher. And to be honest, 64% or 65% as an average is not a high score. That is a middle of the road average score. But in this circumstance, let's say that that's a green, okay? That's actually okay. This means that in order for you to be effective as a leader, the limiting factor for you is not how good you are at leading others. It's not in your communication. It's not in your relationships. It's not in your management of others, okay? It's actually, if you are poor in health and fitness, these are the types of things that you're going to experience. So if you are, let's take unfit and unhealthy, the types of symptoms could be, in worst cases, I'm obviously painting a bad picture here, but you could have a heart attack, okay? You're going to have stress, if I could spell right. You're going to have chronic fatigue. Okay, you're going to have low energy. These are all things that are symptoms. If you are unfit and unhealthy, you could have high blood pressure. Okay, these are all things and symptoms of being poor in the health and fitness area. Let's take, if you're not good at personal leadership either, you're going to, headaches or migraines, which can lead to burnout, which if any of you have experienced, not very nice at all. I have a lot of experience with it. Horrendous place to be, and is such a big problem within leadership. There's also going to be anxiety because of taking on too much, trying to, people please. All of these things are symptoms and things that will happen if you are not focused on your health and fitness, if you are unfit and unhealthy, if you're not focused on your personal leadership, you're unorganized and chaotic. These are the limiting factors. So you can want to be a good leader, all of you want. You can want to lead, you can want to have these meetings, make sure everyone else is on track. But if these are the things that you are, at risk of or experiencing, then these are your limiting factors. Okay, it's nothing to do with you need to go on another leadership course. You actually need to prioritize these things here, your personal leadership and health and fitness. Okay, these symptoms will become your bottleneck, and they will become the thing that stop you from leading from the front. That's the thing, it is simply a matter of time before you get burnt out, before you have chronic fatigue, before you have such low energy, you have anxiety. It is a matter of time if you do not sort those things. So no amount of public leadership and leadership courses is going to solve that. It's actually going to exacerbate the problem because you're not actually fixing the limiting factor, which in this case is health and fitness and personal leadership. So if that is the case, how do we solve it? Well, there's a few key things. As you can probably tell from the model there, the first step is that you need to get organized personally. So this involves planning your weeks, planning your days, and setting boundaries for yourself. You cannot say yes to everything. You need to have clear cutoff points for your work time. You cannot continue to do things because otherwise you're going to be at risk of burning out and experiencing those symptoms that I just mentioned. So that's the first thing, is to get organized. The next one is to prioritize health and fitness. And obviously in a short YouTube video, there's only so much I can go into, but within that involves training and exercise in a way that feels manageable and realistic and achievable for you as a leader, given the current demands of your schedule and your work and life at the moment. We have effective nutrition. This is such a huge one because a lot of leaders will have limited time. They will eat on the go. They will be traveling lots. So effective nutrition that is appropriate and realistic for where you are, where you're at is really important. And last one is sleep and recovery. This is one of the lowest scoring questions individually, and that will be something for another video. But this is how you solve this, okay? If you are at risk of burnout, if you're feeling burnt out now, we need to prioritize these things. And when you look at these are actually nothing to do with other people. These are all to do with the one person who matters most, and that is you. Okay, so the way that I'm going to suggest you do this is I'm not going to explain it in this video because I have done something even better. I've created a full free guide. If you visit www.leadfromthefront.co.uk, I've created a 3-part mini series that is delivered each day over 3 days. And it covers all of these things. Okay, so if you're a leader feeling burnt out, you're fine at leading other people, but you are experiencing the things that I described above, and you know that you need to get yourself organized and you need to prioritize your health and fitness, this is what it's going to cover. The first one is going to cover how to plan effectively. Okay, how to actually do that by using calendars and how you actually set that up. I walk you through the whole thing. It's very detailed. Then on day 2, this is delivered a day after. It's the fundamentals of training. What sort of thing are you actually looking for? The fundamentals of nutrition and the fundamentals of lifestyle. And these things are super actionable because I appreciate there is so much conflicting information out there, and it can be very confusing to know where to start. So it breaks it all down very, very simply. And then lastly is self-reflection. How can you take the lessons of what you've applied and improve it so that you can continue doing this over time and make it part of who you are, what you do, and how you operate on a daily basis, which is what's needed if you want to lead from the front. So that is the main takeaway from this first episode of the series. I hope you found that useful, and I fully appreciate I have lured you in and then sent you somewhere. The reason why I'm doing that, full transparency, is I've already made that. That is in much more detail and will give you exactly what you need to solve that problem. Okay, I've already made it and in much more detail, then there's no point me just doing it again. So that is why I'm sending you there. If you want to grab that, it's the link in the description, www.leadfromthefront.co.uk. If you would like to take the scorecard yourself around how I'm actually gathering the data, I would massively recommend doing that if you are a business owner, manager, or coach in a leadership capacity. I massively recommend you do that. You can do that at the link in the description as well, and that is scorecard.leadfromthefront.co.uk. It's completely free, takes 2 minutes, and it instantly emails you a personalized report with your scores so you can see exactly where you need to improve. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you took a ton of value from that. Make sure you tune in for this series as I'll be sharing real life insights as I collect the data.